Okay, guys, today is Friday, May 22nd, and our lesson today is on page 30 and 31, denotation and connotation. So, a word can have two kinds of meanings. A word's denotation is its dictionary definition, and I often like to think of it as the D for denotation starts like the D in dictionary. That's just how it helps me. A word's connotation is the feeling that people associate with the word. All right, so I know Miss Allen is going through over this page with you, so I'm going to jump to the independent practice. For numbers 1 to 3, read the sentence. The answer choices have similar denotations, meaning dictionary definition. Which answer choice has the most positive connotation? All right, so all of these have the similar dictionary definition, okay? But we're looking for a positive one that goes with this. Cal and his wife had a debate about moving to a new home. All right, so Cal and his wife had a debate about moving to a new home. So quarrel is not a very positive connotation. We're looking for positive. Dispute is also not positive. Discussion is more of a positive. They had a debate or they had a discussion. A disagreement is not positive. So the word that would best describe debate with a positive connotation is discussion. Okay? All right, let's look at this one. Cal said, "We can turn the office into an acceptable bedroom." Okay? All right. Okay, so we've got pleasing, usable, functional, workable. We can turn the office into an acceptable bedroom. Okay, so these three go with what an office is. But this one is what you would want if you want the office and a pleasing, if you're making it into a bedroom, a pleasing bedroom. Okay? All right, so I'm going to read the rest, but I would like you to do them. So Cal's wife wanted to move and she was stubborn about it. Now remember, it's 1, 2, and 3. We're looking for a positive connotation. So we're going to look for a word here that is positive. Cal's wife wanted to move and she was stubborn about it. Well, pushy isn't very positive. Defiant is not positive. Obstinate is not positive. So I guess I gave you a big hint. Determined would be positive. All right, now number 4 and 5, the answer choices have similar dictionary definitions. So all of these, in some way mean transported, okay, in the dictionary. Which answer choice has the most negative feeling about it? On moving day, they transported all their belongings to their new home. So remember, we're looking for negative. All right? A, sent. B, lugged. C, moved. D, carried. All right, so which one of those would be negative? Sent, lugged, moved, carried. And then number 5, Cal really likes the unusual architecture of the house. So we're looking for negative. Odd, rare, unique, uncommon. So all of those can mean unusual, but which one of those has the most negative connotation? All right, that is our reading for the day, but we also have language. So let's take a look at language. Let me pull that up. Nope, that's math. Language, 23 and 24. Let's move down to 23. 23, 24. Okay, we were past 5, weren't we? We did figures of speech. We did journal entry 5. We did subject in 6. Okay, I'm sure you got this writing assignment from Miss Allen. That's right. I think I forgot to put it in there for a previous day. If you did not do it, your journal entry 6 was what has been the most challenging thing you've had to deal with while staying at home? How have you managed? Write advice to share with friends who are dealing with similar challenges. Okay, I'll bet you could write a book on this and not just a journal entry. Okay, you can think of the challenging things that you've had to deal with while staying home. How have you managed it? Write advice to share with friends who are dealing with similar challenges. Boy, this one you could probably write pages and pages. All right, so that was the previous lesson, yesterday's, that I forgot to put in there. This one is today's, punctuating parenthetical elements. Oh boy, doesn't that sound like fun? When you want to include a parenthetical element, and here's the definition of that, or a piece of extra information that is interesting but not absolutely necessary, you use punctuation marks to set it off from the rest of the sentence. You can use commas, parentheses, or dashes. All right, so commas you use to set off information that is not essential to understanding the rest of the sentence. So Rachel Carson, this part is not essential to understanding the rest of it. Rachel Carson devoted her life to protecting the environment. Well, that's the sentence, and you're adding some information here. All right, parentheses to set off non-essential information or to remind readers of something they may already know. So here, Rachel Carson, and then putting the dates of when she lived, that would be in parentheses. Dashes to add emphasis, set off a new thought, or show a sudden change in thinking. So Carson was a powerful and persuasive writer, but they wanted to add something extra, always passionate about nature, okay, and that would be with, they use dashes to set that off. Okay, all right, so I know Miss Allen went through that, so I'm going to go to the independent practice. And let's take a look at this. Dr. Jonas Salk, 1914 to 1995, discovered a cure for polio. All right, so all of these are the same. How would you set this off? Okay, so going back to our example up here, okay, there are no commas there after Rachel Carson. It's just adding parentheses and the dates. So you would not put in, we know it's not A or D, so it's B or C, but we don't put in the commas. We just use the parentheses, so C would be the answer there. Okay? Number 2, polio, a disease that struck fear in parents, was a terrible illness that could cripple children. Okay, so here, it's added information, but it's not necessary for the understanding of the sentence. So you could still understand polio was a terrible illness that could cripple children. We are adding something here for let's see, to set off information that is not essential to understand. It's not essential to understanding it, but I would say it also, no, that's not a new thought. So it would be commas. It would be commas here. Polio, a disease that struck fear in parents. Okay, yeah, not this, not this. No, it's this one, A. Okay? All right. We only have 2 more, so I think you should try a couple of these. I'll read them though. Jonas Salk's parents, immigrants with little formal education themselves, were determined that their children would succeed. Okay, so the main sentence, Jonas Salk's parents were determined that their children would succeed. This is extra information that doesn't interfere with understanding it, but it tells more about them. So I would say a comma would go there. Wait a minute. They don't have a comma anywhere there, but I would have put a comma. Jonas Salk's parents. Oh, okay, wait a minute. Okay, let's see. Let's see, parentheses. To set off non-essential information or to remind readers of something they may. Okay, yeah, the next best one, because the commas aren't here, I would say it would be A. Nope, not A, not with the dash. Not with it. You don't have a dash and a parentheses. So D, parent, Jonas Salk's parents, and then in parentheses, immigrants with little formal education themselves were. So D, you don't want to have a dash and a parentheses. We don't need that, okay? All right, and number 4, at medical school, Salk began researching influenza, the virus that causes the flu. All right, so influenza, the virus that causes the flu. 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 Let me see. At medical school, Salk began researching influenza, and then we're telling what influenza is. So I would put a comma, the virus that causes the flu. You don't want this one. You don't want this one. At medical school, Salk began researching influenza, comma, after influenza. Not influenza, the virus. It's influenza, and then it's explaining what influenza is, the virus that causes the flu. So that would be D. All right, guys, that is it for Friday. Hey, have a great weekend, and we'll see you Tuesday.